The reason that living in a city is difficult for a man and it emasculates a man, well, it doesn't emasculate every man, but it will emasculate many men. It'll be hard for them to live as the men that they were supposed to live as if they have to operate in this urban environment, especially a very big city. It's going to become more and more difficult. And the main reason is lack of space, because men need space, and we need space to get in touch with the environment, the natural environment. We need to interact with the natural environment, the air, the sky, the trees, wildlife. Maybe we're producing something in nature, or maybe we work in the city, but we just need to pass through nature for a little bit. And so I think cities are okay up to a very low level, like of population, like maybe up to 5,000 people, maybe in some cases up to 50,000 people. But I really don't think humans were meant to live in cities beyond that size, because even if you have one ethnic group, even if it wasn't multicultural, you would still run into this problem of, once the city gets past a certain size, it's no longer a community. It becomes anonymous. And it becomes more based on commerce and trade. Once a city gets beyond a certain level, it has to be based on commerce and trade in order for it to be at that level of population. So therefore the people are more removed from their food source. Like they are grow up not knowing how to produce food, and they get food far away from people who do produce the food. So people lose a lot of the skills that they would have had in earlier times. They lose the natural connection to the land, and they end up living in these either tiny houses or big towers, apartment towers or condo towers. And I think I have to do a separate video just on condos itself. Why should you not live in a condo tower? Or I know people grow up in apartment projects, and that's not really their choice. But if you had a choice, why would you live in a condo tower? I think the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. But that'll be a separate video. But just off the top of my head, for the moment, I can say that living in a big tower like that, whether you're renting or owning or any condo or apartment tower, you are, first of all, you're cut off from the ground by more than 4 stories usually. You're much higher than 4 stories in most cases. If you're below 4 stories, maybe you have some connection. I mean, it's a physical connection if you're not too high off of the street. You can see the street, you feel more connected to it. Then it becomes more meaningless once you shoot into the sky. But also, there's some security risk in case of a fire, even though those don't happen too often. But for example, with all the regulations of you have to wear a mask in the building. If you don't like to wear a mask, then all the other residents will see you in the elevator not wearing the mask. This goes for smoking. This goes for many other things. Now, you may agree or disagree with a mask. You may agree or disagree with smoking. But the thing is, you live in a building like that, and your choice has to go with what the building regulation is. So that's just one. But that goes for the example of the city as a whole. Even to have a fire, even to do things that men would have traditionally done, like we would have maybe gone hunting, or we would have gone out away from the domestic sphere. In a city, you can't do that, and so you have to submit to the system. Submit to this big machine. So it's naturally a feminizing space. And I mean, I haven't even said anything about office culture, although I guess now the post-lockdown, will there be the same kind of office culture anymore? I don't know. Maybe it'll be different. But having to work in an environment where men and women are on an equal footing, supposedly, which goes against our nature. This is something that if a man wants to get ahead in that world, then he has to eat a lot of crap and suck it up, and therefore he kills a little part of his soul. He kills part of his manhood. That's what happens, not just in office jobs, but in government jobs, commercial jobs, like in stores. This is a widespread pattern. I could go on and on, but those are some of the main reasons off the top of my head about why cities emasculate men. I wouldn't be the first one to say this. Many other people have explained this idea, but this is just my brief take on the matter. Hasta luego, amigos.